I knew before the fight began if I was going to win or lose. I knew that in the dressing room because I would look in the mirror. And if I saw Sugar Ray Leonard, I could beat Mike Tyson. If I saw Ray Leonard, then it's going to be a rough night. Aldous Adamas for the gold medal. Aldous Adamas, my opposition, had just annihilated everyone. He sent fighters to the hospital, on stretchers. The general consensus felt that I shouldn't have been no contest to Aldous Adamas. I tell you one thing, I remember that night before the fight. I didn't get much sleep, but I thought about that fight, and I kind of choreographed it in my head, how I should win, how I can win, and it all happened. That year, 1976 in Montreal, was a time in my career that I'll never forget. It wasn't about being famous or making money. It was about representing myself and my country. I was fighting for the most valuable prize in the world, and that is the Olympic gold medal. Nothing compares to that. Someone can say I was world champion professionally. I was this, I was that. But being an Olympic gold medalist, that speaks volume. Dick Eklund. Very unorthodox, very confident, very kind of crazy guy who later became my friend. He didn't care who I was because at that time I won all my fights. He wasn't that easy to beat. I think there is a question about did he knock me down. I slipped. I actually slipped.
Now Leonard is down. Let's see if that's a knockdown. And Eklund just walked over it.
It wasn't the fact that physically he was tough. He was just tough mentally. He never gave up.
Eklund down again. Eklund is down.
He tried the best he could, but it was more so experience over talent. But he's a tough son. He was a tough son of a bitch. Pete Ranzani. If you look at him, he doesn't look that fearful. He was kind of a skinny. Well, he was skinny, very very skinny guy. But he was, he used everything to his fullest. His height advantage, his speed, his style. Actually, I beat him in the amateurs, so I knew of him. I knew about him. It was a good fight. I learned from that. I learned from every fight, but I learned from that fight too. To throw punches until the guy's down. Continue to throw punches until the guy's down. And never take anyone for granted. Wilfred Benitez. Competing against Wilfred Benitez, who was the youngest champion ever, 17 years old, world champion. He was one of my most difficult fights. Along with the championship being on the line, I never missed so many punches in my life. I threw punches left and right. I had pretty fast hands, and out of maybe 12 punches, maybe 3 will land.
Leonard going right at Benitez here in round 1. Whipping right hands, missing with most.
He was so elusive. He was never a stationary target. He had that natural God-blessed talent that he could feel a punch and slip it. That fight was so tough that I went to the hospital late that night because of dehydration. Because I beat him. I beat Benitez with talent, yes, but more so with my heart. I never gave up. I never stopped throwing punches.
Leonard steps in with a left, and he stops it. Carlos Bonilla stops it with 6 seconds to go. 1976, gold medalist Sugar Ray Leonard, the new WBC World Welterweight Champion.
Even when I'm exhausted, if I get you hurt, I could come on strong like it was just the first round. We're stronger than we really are, but you have to really dig deep. And it hurts. It does hurt. But to win is what it's all about, to win. Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran, I used to hate that son of a bitch. I love him now, we're friends. Yeah, my very first loss, Duran taught me, or showed me, or displayed to me how important the mind is. And he said things about me, he cursed me out, he cursed my wife out. It worked because he got under my skin, he got into my head. I said, you know what, I'm going to beat this guy at his own game. And that was when the problem started because I wanted to beat him at his own game, which is standing toe-to-toe and just banging away, as opposed to using the ring, using my hand speed, using my height. But I wanted to get at this guy because he disrespected me.
Sugar Ray Leonard at his best. He's trading punch for punch with Duran.
Around the 3rd or 4th round, he hit me, and he rocked me. I mean, he almost knocked me down. They called Roberto Duran the Hands of Stone, Manos de Piedras. And he hit me, and I even turned around and said, who else was in this damn ring? His power was unimaginable. He was perpetual motion.
Leonard bombing away, and Duran thinks he has won the fight. I can't believe it. It's over.
After the fight, which I lost in 15 rounds, went to my hotel, and a doctor came by and drew blood from my ear because you break the blood vessels in your ears become cauliflower. That kind of pain was even worse than the punches. I was going to retire. I thought about retiring because I said, I can't deal with this anymore. But the fighter in me said, after a few days of rest, I said, I want a rematch as soon as possible. And I made that happen. Roberto Duran 2. Now, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about that fight. And this time I was going to box him, outpoint him, use my hand speed, use the ring.
Duran is watching a different Leonard in the first minute. Good right hand by Leonard. He said he'd be aggressive this time, and boy, is he good right hand. Left and right, but here comes good right hand by Leonard. Oh, they're really fighting.
Looking back on my first fight, there were so many distractions. I mean, the guys were coming to me at training camp. Can I get the car wreck? Can I get this? Can I get that? I was there to train, but I ended up, it was like a vacation for some of my friends and relatives. The second fight, I trained hard. I stayed focused. I stayed in the zone. That makes a huge difference in the outcome of the fight. Duran is not as aggressive as he was in the first fight because I was using my footwork and my hand speed. And you'll notice he was almost like puzzled. There was like a question mark on his face. Like, what's going on here? What is he doing? And humiliation, because I kind of stuck my chin out a little bit and did a little bit of this. Pow. Yeah, it works.
Doing a little dodging now and a little Ali. He's taunting Duran. Look at that.
I learned to get inside his head as opposed to him getting back inside my head. And also the public or the fans were laughing because I was doing the bolo punches, sticking my chin out, because it was like a bully. He was like a bully. And a bully would do one or two things if challenged. He would punch you out or he would run away. And Duran ran away. I love you, Roberto. Anyway, that's my take.
Sugar Ray in the ropes, it gets away immediately. And what's happening? Duran says no. I think he's quitting. What is he saying, Larry?
He says no, I don't understand.
He's saying no, he quit.
I don't understand this.
That was a bizarre fight, bizarre ending, and people still talk about it, naturally. But it was one of my favorite fights. Tommy Hearns. My fight against Tommy Hearns, my God, that was one of the most significant fights of my entire career. I was the WBC champion, and Tommy Hearns was a WBA champion. And back then, there was only 2 or 3 boxing bodies. Tommy Hearns, again, he was one of those guys who, like Roberto Duran or Aldo Sadamas, annihilated his opponent, just knocked him cold. And they thought when we met that Tommy would beat me because Tommy stands 6'2", arms longer than a football field, knockout power in both hands. Tommy had the heart of a gladiator, a warrior. I think I would say majority of everyone figured that I had no chance against Tommy. I tell you what, it was one of my toughest fights, if not the toughest fight in opposition that I faced. When the first bell rung, I was trying to get inside. I couldn't get him because his arms were so quick. His reach was so incredible. And he closed my left eye so I could barely see. It was over 100 degrees in the ring. It was so hot. I finally hurt Tommy in the 4th, 5th round, I believe it was.
Hearns may have been hurt.
There's the right hand. There's a hook.
You don't know what it's like to be in the ring against someone so great as a Tommy Hearns. It wasn't until Muhammad Ali told me many years ago. He said, Ray, when I fought Joe Frazier, it was the closest thing to death. And I didn't quite understand that. I couldn't digest that. The fight with Tommy Hearns, it was the closest thing to death because you're exhausted. You can't keep your hands up. You know this guy, if you give him a chance, would knock your block off. It wasn't until my trainer, Angelo Dundee, said, Ray, I think 11th or 12th round, he said, you're blowing it, meaning I'm losing.
You're blowing it now, son. You're blowing it.
That little pep talk, that little sound bite made a huge difference in the outcome of that fight. Because I got off the stool the next round, and I hurt him, and I rocked him, and I took him out.
Leonard has to fight a desperate fight. Good right hand. That
Hearns
weave.
was hurt again.
There was that right hand.
Oh, that nailed it.
He has nothing left. He's going to be knocked out.
I received his belt. It was kind of a unification fight. Yeah, because I retired in 82. Yes, you're right. You're all right, actually. I retired a lot of times. I think I was 25, 26. You know, people told me, you know, how happy I should be that I have the title, I'm famous. But it wasn't about that anymore. It wasn't about that. It was about my legacy. And you don't tell people you're the best. You let them tell you that they think you're the best by fighting the best guys out there. Kevin Howard. Kevin Howard, that was the first time I was knocked down. Wasn't hurt at all, because sometimes we get knocked down, and it's what they call a flash flood knockdown, which means you hit on the chin and you go down. Everything just crumbles, and there's no pain or anything.
I really believe that Sugar Ray Leonard right now thinks he can take him at any time, and a right hand from Kevin Howard puts Sugar Ray Leonard right on the seat of his pants.
But there are times you get knocked down, and all of a sudden when your legs become invited, that's when your mind says, okay, man, now we're not stable, so the guy's going to knock us out. It wasn't the case with Kevin Howard. I was more embarrassed than anything.
And there was the left hand, and Kevin Howard is about done here. That's it.
At the press conference, I said, guys, you know what? My mind and my body told me that it's over, and I retired for good. But then I came back because I saw who I felt was one of the greatest middleweight champions of all time, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I wanted to see his fight. Hagler was fighting this guy named John the Beast Mugabe, and it was a pretty even fight in the early stages until Hagler came on strong, as he normally does, and destroys. And I just felt that I could beat him. I just felt, observing him, that I had the tools, if sharpened, to beat him. When I announced that that I was fighting him, the whole boxing circle went crazy because my last fight I was knocked down by Kevin Howard. So people were concerned about my health, especially my eye. I had a partially detached retina. Majority, I would say 98%, felt that I had no chance. Rightfully so, because I haven't been active for quite some time, for years. Marvin Hagler. It was 5 days before the fight. I'm boxing. My sparring partner hit me, nearly knocked me out. My people, my guys, my team, on the ride back to my hotel, were silent. No one said a word because they felt that if I get hurt by a sparring partner, Hagler was going to kill me. And I got so upset that I called my trainer. I said, Mike, they think I'm going to lose. I said, Hagler will not touch me. Because my original fight plan was to stand toe-to-toe. I boxed him, and I did what I did.
Leonard, the first punch of the fight. Leonard, a combination again.
It was that punch, thank God it was because of that punch that I changed my style, the style that I thought was going to beat Hagler. And no one stands toe-to-toe with Hagler. No one.
Combination. Leonard got the better of that. Hagler peppering him. Leonard now tries to fight off the ropes. The crowd chanting Sugar Ray.
And new middleweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Hagler was a beast in the ring. He was one of the guys who was in best shape 100% of the times. Donnie Lalonde made an incredible comeback against Donnie Lalonde because there was a vacant super middleweight 168 title that was on the line. He was a good fighter, good champion, and I remember getting hit by him, and he hurt me so bad. I mean, the first punch, the first jab rocked me.
Quick left landed by Lalonde. You can see that Leonard does not want to get close.
That's when I felt in my heart, and that was the only other time I should say, because Duran 1 was vicious, that I said, man, I don't need it. I wanted to quit in that ring. A part of me said I wanted to give it up. But then again, the real me said, no, we're going to see this thing through. When he knocked me down, I think it was like around the 4th, 5th round too, he just hit me.
And Leonard goes down. Sugar Ray Leonard is down.
If you get hit or sideswipe on the side of your temple, your equilibrium is just out of whack. You can't stabilize yourself. And you just go down. You're not hurt. Well, I wasn't hurt. And I knew, I looked in his face, and the expression was, I'm going to get you the next round, or I'm going to finish you before this round is up. And he came out when the referee called us together, and he tried to take me out. And he threw a lot of punches that were not necessary or that missed. I would come back and I throw body shots. And it was a body shot that kind of stunned him.
The lob is caught in hand by Leonard. Leonard backs off. He's hurt. Leonard is shaken up. Leonard going for it. And John's starting the line.
I can show how you. I can show you.
Yeah. For sure.
Tommy Hearns 2. That fight, there should have been a rematch years before. People all felt, the general consensus felt, the fight shouldn't even take place because they called Tommy Hearns a shot fighter, and they felt that I would just pound him out. But Tommy is a proud man, fighter, and I knew that he would be a different fighter when he fought me, trying to get me back. So by me having this, everyone telling me how easy it's going to be, it kind of made me not fear Tommy. You have to fear every man in the ring. And I got in that ring, I looked at Tommy, and he had the eye of the tiger, which I didn't have. And it became a tougher fight than expected. Tommy hit me and hurt me more times than the first fight.
Well, he may be aiming for a big right hand. Right to the jaw of Leonard. Leonard took it, but it was a big shot. And another one sends him down. The right hand of the ear of Leonard. Another one. And a left. Down goes Leonard with a combination from Hearns. Leonard looks hurt, gets up, but he is hurting.
I just think that what took place in that ring was that I was more civilized. I was living the life of a star, and you can't have that. You can't have that voice in your head telling you, hey, when are we going home? When are we going to the party?
Leonard didn't move him, but it was a tough left hook back from Leonard.
Him drop his right hand. Tommy dropped his right hand.
Watch the clock now, Tim. Tommy has nothing left. Right hand by Leonard, and Hearns in difficulty along the ropes. Another combination. The crowd is on its feet. What a war! What a fight! I'd have to score it for Tommy Hearns. I would agree. We've got Hearns the winner, but we'll see how the officials see it.
And it ended in a draw. I felt bad. I felt with that draw against Tommy Hearns, I felt I lost the fight. I really felt that. Who knows, man? But Tommy, I personally feel now, even watch the tape now, Tommy won that fight. Bye. I give him a point or two. Hector Camacho. One of the worst mistakes I've made in my life. You know, I actually felt that I could beat Hector Camacho, who was an incredible champion fighter. I don't know. I guess I was trying to save myself. That was kind of a bad area, bad timing for me. But the minute he hit me, the first punch, pow, was a jab, pow. And I said to myself, you know what, maybe I wonder if they care if we postpone this for a little bit.
First time in 6 years. I mean, he's been sparring hundreds of rounds. And more relaxed. The real John Saraceno. Good stop there by Leonard. Leonard is down. Camacho landing. Cortez should stop it now. It's time. There it is. There he is. Great champion. Two real gentlemen.
My body said, hey, come on, man, like, give me a break. I faced some of the toughest oppositions in the world. My health is still great. I have great kids, great family, friends. I'm good. Let me reciprocate. Let me give back to the world, if you will. That's when I started my foundation with my wife for knocking out diabetes, type 1, type 2. I've been knocked down, but not out. Even to this day, I live my life like a fighter outside the ring. Don't believe people who tell you can't be this or be that, and give back, because I won those fights. And although it's a mano-a-mano, it's me against you, but I won that fight because I had a team. I had a corner. So always, give props to your friends and your corner. And don't ever give up.